and welcome to On Public Square, a City of Clarksville podcast where we get to know the amazing city employees that help keep the lights on. They're our friends, our family, our neighbors, and each of them has a story to tell. Now, let's say hello. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of On Public Square. We are now 2 episodes into Season 2. I don't know if I mentioned that last time, but this is officially Season 2 of On Public Square. And I'm here with some friends of mine from our Information Technologies Department to talk about a whole bunch of things today. We have Dirk and we have Tamara. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So glad I haven't had anyone up from IT yet, and it wasn't easy to coax y'all up from the basement, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I did.
We like
And-
our dungeon.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all introverts, don't you know?
you guys are like me, I think, in that I work cameras and I
Mhm.
do mics. I do like to perform, but sometimes it's nice to be behind the camera and to make the things.
We like to stay away from people. That's why we work on computers. Tech is good, people bad.
Oh, goodness. Well, of course, I like to start with introductions. So, Dirk, why don't we start with you? Just tell us a little bit about who you are and what your job is, that kind of stuff.
Sure. I'm Dirk Prodenentis. I am the technology coordinator for the city of Clarksville, which is lack of meaning in a title. I am in charge of the infrastructure. So servers, storage, networking, things of that nature all run through me. I've been with the city for 23 years. I was here before the building. So yeah, it's been a long time, a good journey. I've played almost every role that we've had in the IT department.
Do you have a favorite one?
The one I'm in currently, I really like it. It's a lot of interacting with like vendors and trying to get bid specs written and doing a lot of research to give it to our CIO, Amy, in order for her to make informed decisions about purchases or ideas moving forward. So, yeah, this is my favorite role thus far.
Wonderful. So, if you were here before this building was sort of set up, you know the infrastructure probably in and out by now.
Yes, I have been here a long time. When I started here, we had 3 employees and 3 servers, and that was the entirety of our infrastructure.
No
So,
longer.
yes.
You also have one of my favorite offices in the building. You have some of the coolest collectibles.
Yes, I try. I've had it up for a long time, and we are of course nerds, so I have to fly that flag.
I'm excited to have someone else who likes nerdy pop culture stuff up here. I am all into, of course, we actually share, we have a similar former city employee who we both played D&D with
That
in
is
Ryan
correct.
Milton.
Yes, I'm
Uh,
playing on Saturday.
Wonderful.
So,
I've
yeah.
got him on Sunday.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
So that's fun. I was talking with Bobby in building facilities maintenance that we needed an episode of this where we just play Magic the Gathering or something.
That would be fantastic. I
Yeah.
could bring in some, we just and do it cheap. We could do pauper decks, so we play
Yeah.
all commons. That
We
would
can
be
teach them.
fantastic.
We can get the mayor on. We can teach
Teach
him
them how to play. That'd be fantastic. But I think that one though would have to be a video. You couldn't just
Yeah.
do that as audio because not a real compelling audio track.
No, I might have to ask you before the end what your favorite commander is if we're talking about Magic the
Oh,
Gathering.
you see, yeah, you got.
Yeah, I'll give you some time to think about
Thanks,
it.
I appreciate that.
Wonderful. And Tamara, what about you?
Hi, yeah, Tamara Welker, and I've been here about 18 years. I was here when Dirk was trying to hire someone for the website, and I came in and sent my application. And I think we were looking for an ASP developer at the time. And
What's that mean?
It's a coding language,
Okay.
and we were looking to find someone that was able to write that code. And I came into the picture, and I was hired. And I started out as a webmaster here,
Mhm.
and I've been in that position for 18 years, is taking control of the website. But the website has changed throughout throughout the years. From me coming in and coding it and creating the website just from scratch. And from that to now we have a content management system that handles the website, and we can all
Mhm.
just upload our own content.
You helped me a lot with the social media stuff as well. I know, with all the Facebook and
Yeah.
this and that. I was talking with someone else who's one of our folks that does that, of the constant fear of when you're using your own personal social media, I'm not on the city one, am I?
Oh, they have a hard time with that because
Yeah.
you have to go through your own Facebook in order to
Mhm,
create these pages. So I don't know how many pages we have now for the city.
mhm.
I
Nothing
think
has made me loathe social media more than working in it.
yes, I see.
I don't use my own. I have a Facebook,
Uh-huh.
and I barely use it because it's like, "Ah, that's work. That's work stuff." Or Twitter, I sorry, X.
Formerly Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the X formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
great.
I think that's my favorite little news bite all the time is when they do an X post and they'll say X, and then after it in the article it will say formerly Twitter, and it's constant. No one just
Mhm.
calls it X and then moves on.
I was very annoyed. One of my favorite tools for using, they had something called TweetDeck, which was great. You could have your lists and stuff all set up to monitor Twitter really easily. It got moved to a paid platform, and
Yep,
Oh,
I was
I had the
so
same
upset.
thing. I used to keep it up on one screen,
Mhm,
and as tweets that were relating to cybersecurity or
mhm,
mhm.
Clarksville, you just put your hashtags in, and it would just pull it up
Mhm.
as news came
mhm.
in, and then boom, paywall.
Yeah, so important when I was a journalist to just, I could have Clarksville, Tennessee, something, new
Right.
business. But, yeah, which I
Mhm.
suppose is, you mentioned the website
Yeah.
layout. One of the things we wanted to talk about today is that we have a new website. It's been up for, I guess, a couple months now. Do you
Yeah, I
remember when
think
we
it's
launched?
great. Don't you think? Don't you love the
I
design
love
of
it.
it?
It
I'm just really
it
happy with it.
looks so, I love the new colors. A lot of that,
Yeah.
you suggested, if I remember.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the new layout makes the news portion, which is the part I deal with the most, looks
Oh,
wonderful.
good.
I kind of just wanted to let people know, like, that or how that process works, because it was not a short process, and I bet
Mhm.
people, I imagine a lot of folks don't know what all goes into a website design.
Right.
So when did we start that whole thing?
Right. We were talking about it. I think it was last April,
Hmm.
and yeah, Amy wanted to get that done this year. We were waiting f- till the 5 years because after 5 years we get a free refresh. Is what we do.
Because we use a vendor, Civic Plus.
Yes, Civic
Wonderful.
Plus. So it was time. So we were ready to roll. So when we started, I guess all we really wanted to do is look at the different websites around the country, um,
Hmm.
see what we liked, and the design that we liked. We took pieces from different sites and put them together.
Yeah, I remember that meeting where they sent
Yeah.
us a list of all their other client cities of, and we could say, like, we like this city's
Mm-hmm.
image carousel at the top, and we like Branson, Missouri's
Yeah. Was
this, or
yeah. Exactly.
it was a fun process. That's what it
Yeah.
looked like from my end, at
Yeah.
least, where I
Yeah.
was just emailing the person like, I think tweak this color a little bit. Here's our color code for what we use for branding. Was there anything different on your end? I mean, I'm
Yes.
sure there was, but
Well, it was interesting because when I first started here, it was harder. The whole
mhm,
process was harder. I mean, I had to code everything
mhm,
and come up with my own designs.
mhm,
And then we would have I'd show 3 designs that I created and then we'd all vote on which one is good.
mhm,
And then we went into a different, stage, is the city, is where they hired, who did they hire? I don't remember the name of them, but they were a PR company, and they came in and created a logo
mhm,
and created signs that we have all around the city, and they created the website, a new website. So I had to go and learn PHP for that to try to
mhm,
see if it was needed, but it was never needed. I didn't need to use that language for that.
mhm,
And then that's when we came in with the content management system. We decided it'd be easier to buy a system where all the departments can go ahead and go in and train them and they can update their own content,
mhm,
which I think works really well.
mhm,
So this process was pretty easy, depending on, what we used to do for a
mhm,
website. So I don't have any complaints about it. It just takes time to get what you want. But it was an easy for me. It was an easy process. We decide what we like, we don't like. let's put this here, let's move this link here,
Mhm.
let's it's all really design and we connect to the back
Mhm.
end, but we connect easy to the back end, so
Mhm.
it's pretty easy
I wonder if
process.
if you have a similar thing, 'cause I know working up here when Jimmy came on, I was very thankful because I was like, "Oh, someone with a similar background to me,"
Uh-huh.
and, like, it's really easy to talk shop up here with communications because Jimmy and I have both worked on both sides of the fence in local journalism and then over here doing this. Different specialties, of course, and, Jimmy's been doing it for way longer than me, but, it's
Right.
really easy, and I know Amy, similarly, our, CIO, has worked in web development. I believe she designed some elements of the Montgomery County website in her previous position. I might be super wrong about that.
Uh, School system, I believe she
Yeah.
was a coder for the school system. Her
Right.
husband, Steve,
Yes.
is a web developer and was the
Okay.
web developer for the county for a while, and owns his own business
Mm.
at this as well.
That's me showing my ignorance and not
Oh,
fully knowing the difference between coder and web
Right.
developer.
Yeah.
but,
So
Uh,
coders write applications, programs, and web developers
yeah.
work on
mhm,
websites. But I'm not certain. She may or may not have. I try to let
mhm.
Amy be Amy.
Yeah.
And
My main point being,
Yes.
I wonder if it's a similar thing where, like, it's nice to have someone who's got the practical experience to work with.
Oh, sure. But I do wanna say that, my, job title has changed.
Mhm.
Now I'm content manager.
Content manager.
Yeah, now it's, like, switched from webmaster to application developer, and now I'm content
Mhm,
manager because the job keeps changing,
mhm.
so.
That was actually my title at Clarksville Now. While I was a
Uh-huh.
journalist and doing all the stories and such,
Yeah.
I was also handling the Facebook and the newsletters and
Uh-huh.
all of that content generation to make sure that the news gets to people. And it is a fun job in its own way. Yeah, the look doesn't translate to podcast, but I
I
know
know,
what you're
but
saying.
that's why I looked and not said anything.
I'm kidding. I'm
also
kidding.
handle all of our video content that goes up on channel 3 and the
Yeah.
website as well. So you do all the editing and encoding of all of that as well.
Yeah, now that I like.
I actually didn't originally know that we handled that over. I thought CDE handled that for the longest time. But that's really cool, and I don't know how many if everyone knows as much as I would like them to know that we have Channel 3 available. That's a local program that essentially we're able to put stuff up on that citizens, residents need to know.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, but it's only CDE channel 3, it's not so it's
mhm,
just in our city.
mhm. What you said that part you do like. What do you like about that? What makes it unique or
Yeah,
special?
I like video editing.
You like video editing? I do
Mhm.
too.
I do too,
I
I
really
like it
do.
too. Yeah, that's the thing I like. But, the one thing when I first started and when I was great was I got to go around to the different, I don't know, venues and meetings and video
Mhm.
and edit them and do photos, and I did everything for the website. So now at least I'm tapering off and you're doing a lot more, which I'm
Yeah.
happy about.
I have been working very hard to
Thank
up
you
our
very
YouTube
much.
game,
Thank
in
you.
particular, but I'll have to when I'm got some video projects, I may come down and talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Like
Um,
you said, it's nice to have a second set of ears to bounce ideas off
it
of.
really is, and before I started here, I do Twitch and YouTube in my own personal time doing, like, video game content, lots of Pokemon and a Dungeons& and Dragons live plays. My friends and I will get together on web calls and
Interesting.
play. I went to school for acting originally, so some of my actor friends will get together and treat it like an improv show.
I did too,
Yeah,
acting.
very fun. I miss it. I don't have time for it right now, but I'd miss it.
The Roxy sent out a volunteer letter just today asking me if I still wanted to
Ooh,
volunteer because you get to go and you usher, and
mhm,
then you get to see the show, and then, you help everyone out and whatever they need.
I love it.
That was fun. I like to do that too.
Very cool. Um, but yeah, video editing is a great process. I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you what your favorite aspect of the redesign is and such, as well as aspect of the job. Is there something about the new website layout that sticks out as like a favorite new thing or something
Well,
you were excited about?
yes, we're able to add a lot more content on the homepage, and,
Mhm.
the design is catching. So if I need to add something new, it's right there. I could take something off and add something to it. Or we can create a whole new section. If we need to add even more than
Mhm.
they had, all I have to do is add a section to it. It's It'd be
Mm.
very easy.
And we did recently have to add a section to it, and
Mhm.
we had a bunch of us kind of doing things on the fly with the tornado back in December, which we're going to be doing an episode soon talking about that. I have Michelle Austin, and uh, we're looking for another guest. I'm hoping to get one of our community partners up here with her to talk about the tornado and
Yeah, that
recovery.
was scary.
But between us and Michelle and a couple other people, we were
Mhm.
able to set up on the website a banner at the top where people
Mhm.
could click, and it would take them to a collection of all the resources we were told about. And people were sending us in. My restaurant is doing 100 free meals today. If you could add that, and we were able to have, here's where you can go for food. Here's where there's offering free laundry services. Here's all the good FEMA information.
Yeah, it
And
was real important. I'm
mhm,
glad we were able to get that up and out
very much so.
quickly
And
too.
I thank you for you had to handle a lot of that. So if you're listening to this and that page was helpful, Tamara's one of the main people I think we can thank for making sure that information was up there and stayed both relevant and timely. Um, and I think it's down now, or we've moved things around a little.
Well, it's still up, but yeah, most of it is half of it has been taken off. But
Mhm.
it's I think the date has passed for FEMA help, but I think there's other help,
Yes, it has, but there
insurance
are
help
still
and
other
stuff.
things they're
Yes.
doing. But the date for that FEMA disaster assistance, like the main thing,
Yeah.
was the 12th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we had that video running too on
Mhm,
Channel 3
mhm, mhm.
constantly.
That was a great video.
Yeah, it was good.
I was
Very
really impressed with
informative.
it. Um, the other thing with the website I wanted to talk about,
Mhm.
I was talking with Amy about this just recently. We're both involved with the accessibility enhancements committee that's been meeting for the past several months, working on improving accessible infrastructure around Clarksville, but also digital infrastructure. We've added Audio Eye, and I could talk a little bit about it. But can you say a little bit about what Audio Eye is and these new accessibility tools we have on the website?
Audio Eye is an icon that you can find on top of the page. It's a little man that you can click on. And what it does, it'll enhance the contrast or the colors. If you have a hard time seeing the screen, you could change the fonts, make them bigger or smaller. It's for people with accessibility problems. It helps them to view the screen easier, and it has a lot of options that you could choose from. And it'll change the whole website without even with a click.
Mhm.
So it's easier for them to go through and see what
Mm.
they're looking for.
And I like how it organizes things. There's
Uh-huh.
options for if for colorblind folks who
Yeah,
might need to change the
it's
colors on the
really
page,
cool.
and
If you go through it,
mhm.
people should go through it and see.
Does it have a translation tool? Am I remembering that one? I know it has, you can change the font to something more dyslexia friendly if needed.
I believe there is.
Lots of cool stuff.
I'm not sure though on
Yeah.
that,
Well,
but
if
I could
anyone's
pull out my
but
curious,
I
phone
think
and
there is.
check.
I think there is.
and it does work mobile on the mobile version of the
Yeah,
website. So
yeah.
if you're on our website, check it out. Play around with those tools a little bit. They're really handy, very nice.
Yes. Thank you.
Another thing we instituted, I guess it's been about a year, maybe a little more than that at this point, is we instituted Phrase Chatbot, FRASE, which I
Yes.
know was a task for the two of us. We introduced this. That was right around the time I started. One of the first things I think we met on a Google call with Phrase, who does some sort of, I guess it's AI type tools, but
Yes.
not in the same
Yes.
way. It's not AI like all the things
Uh-huh.
you hear talked about.
Uh-huh.
We're not talking about Chat GPT or anything. This is essentially a system where we're able to allow people can go on and ask questions as if it's like a search bar, and it's sort of tailored answers. And we've gone in when we get a question that maybe it doesn't direct very well on our end, we see those questions and we're able to train it so that it can relate the words better and maybe get it more right next time.
Right. Right.
And I think it's been a very helpful tool for folks. Some occasionally I'll get in there and it's just like someone who maybe didn't get their answer, and then the next query is like just a string of curse words. But
That is fantastic.
just parking, parking, parking with an exclamation point. Parking, 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 parking.
I like the one where they go in and they just write Cracker Barrel. It's like,
What?
yeah, Cracker Barrel. They just write Cracker Barrel. It's like, what? Do we have a Cracker Barrel in the city? Is that what you're trying to ask? You're the wrong search bar. You should be going to the other search bar to look for Cracker Barrel.
Oh my goodness. I was going to ask if you had a favorite or like a
That's my
wild
favorite.
one that
Cracker
comes
Barrel.
up, but that's a good one.
I love Cracker Barrel as it is, let alone.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, I was trying to think. I meant to go through and find some of the more wild questions on there. If you're listening and you've put one of those wild questions, we don't know your name. We can see the question. No names associated though, so you're fine.
Yeah.
But yes, check that tool out as well. We're able to add buttons to it so that when people click, like I added, if you're parking downtown and you go into phrase, it says you can type parking now, not parking, parking, parking. I don't know if that'll work, but
Well, thank you, Casey, for training that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just pick
You
days.
did a
and
lot. You did a lot with it,
Yeah.
and I thank you for that.
It's gotten ahead of me now. Now I look in there and it's like looking up at a skyscraper. There's so many questions, which is good. People are using it, but
Yeah.
oh,
Anyway.
goodness.
But mostly gas and water. That's the one that's
Yeah.
every day. Gas and water.
Mhm.
That's why, in the new
Mhm.
design we have gas and water right there.
Mhm, mhm.
You know.
Or
on the
people wanting
homepage.
their police report from a car accident. I see a lot of
Yes.
that. I need my accident report.
Yes.
Is another one I see really commonly. But yeah, we
Yeah,
have one
cool.
other topic. We're doing pretty well today on time. I love it.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit, and this is sort of timely. In a weird way, we're recording this today on Thursday, February 22nd, which we've had a little bit of news today, and this is coming out tomorrow, so it's not going to be old news actually. But all this stuff in the news about wireless AT&T and such being down. One, I'm just curious, how are we affected by that right now, or are we good?
Well, we use Verizon, so AT&T doesn't impact us, with the exception of the Clarksville Fire Department, who uses it for their mobile data terminals in their vehicles.
Mhm.
It's got better coverage for areas sort of out toward the outskirts of town, so they have a better coverage with AT&T.
Mm.
And the AT&T, I believe, was a distributed denial of service attack against them, and it took down a significant portion. So they're quick to respond. They're quick to be able to repair it. So I don't think it's going to see a huge impact, and I really don't think it's going to see a huge impact to us because we are primarily a Verizon customer.
Wonderful. And that's the kind of thing that would fall under I don't we're no specifics, I guess, but in the theoretical circumstance of cyber issues or intentional cyber issues from another party, does that fall in your camp? Dirk?
Yes, it falls under myself and Charles Vincent, who is our network administrator.
Mhm.
We are the primary handle for cybersecurity within the city, and we do everything as it relates to network and network edge. And then internally, we have Chris Bagby handles our endpoint security and our
Mhm.
MDR, which is uh, management of endpoints from a network standpoint,
Mhm.
so that if something gets a virus, it isolates it on the network or things of that nature. So we handle it from a network security standpoint, and then from an internal desktop security point, that's handled by other users. And we try to make sure that we have cross training so that there isn't a single individual who knows all of about one thing. That way, if you're no longer here, you're struck by a bus on the way into work, there's somebody who can take over that work for you as well. So we try to cross train across a lot of stuff. Um, and with the landscape as it is right now, there is tons to do on a very regular basis. I mean, like I said, I've been here a very long time, and I update firmware more frequently in the last year than probably in the previous 5. It's just there are constant exploits. There are constant, feeds from all of our news reports about this company got hacked, or this firmware has a vulnerability, or this vendor has been compromised in some way or another. And so with the all the information you get, you do everything you can to get your equipment patched as quickly as possible
Mhm.
to try to prevent exploits and things of that nature, which are ongoing.
Mhm.
So
One of my favorite movies is a cheesy '90s film called Hackers, and
Angelina Jolie, uh,
it was
uh,
one of her early movies, as
uh,
well as I
Ti
forget.
Tommy or Johnny Lee Hooker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shaggy, his
Yeah.
real Matthew Lillard,
Matthew Lillard, yeah.
the Shaggy. But I loved that movie, and I always thought I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" Like the stuff, these. Little did I know how unrealistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
The duel with the at the beginning with the DVD platter where they're trying to take
yeah,
over the television station. I was just it's great for cinema,
mhm.
but,
I loved the scene where they're, like, going back and forth seeing who can make that DA's life worse,
yes,
that culminates in him being legally declared dead or
yes.
something.
That
But
is fantastic, but it is primarily fantasy. From what I understand, the best representation of hacking in television and movies is Mr. Robot.
I
The
haven't seen
TV
that
show
movie.
Mr. Robot.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it was a series. Rami Malek was the star, and it's very good. But it is it's acknowledged as probably the most accurate portrayal of hacking in television and movies. So it's just a lot of writing code, enforcing that code, and exploiting things.
Mhm,
It's not flashy. It's not fast. It's not
mhm,
it's something that people grind at in
mhm.
order to get accomplished. So.
And something that I remember from my cybersecurity training stuff here is that a lot of that nowadays falls more to the, like, social engineering side of
Yes, and
things.
and that's 100% it. The largest system that can be faulted by cybersecurity is the end user.
Mhm,
It's all social engineering, or the bulk of it is social engineering, falling for phishing scams, which are emails purporting to be from something else, and getting you to click on a link and it then corrupting files within that because of that link, or um, best one is social engineering, where you get a call from your technical support department saying they need access to your computer and giving you false credentials, and then saying okay, and then they get access to your computer, and from there now you have a keylogger installed, and the next time you type in a username or password, it's
mhm,
captured and sent to China. And
yeah,
it's a lot of what we have is handled by end users. Most of your ransomware attacks generate
mhm,
from misclicks on emails or
mhm,
clicking on the wrong website.
mhm. I had a previous job, I won't say where, but the IT department there liked to kinda test folks live to a certain extent, and it was good. It was good because it really showed, like, how easy it is to do some of that. But one of the things they did one time was, well, they did this twice. It worked one time, and the second time we did our, well, neither of these were me. The first was dropping a flash drive in the parking lot and seeing if someone would pick it up and plug it in. That one they didn't. Another one was, there was some free flash drives, like, in a bowl, like, branded ones, and popping one of those, or putting something on one of those in there.
Right, and yeah, rootkits on those are terrible and can do lots and
Mhm,
lots of damage. The other one now that's very, very popular is actually for physical security, where you ride somebody's badge into a building. So you have a
mm,
secure building and you have to scan in with your badge or punch in a code. And of course, if you're coming into the building, I mean, our building is a secure building as well. You scan your badge in the morning and there's someone 5 steps away from you. You open the door and hold it open for them, and they come in with you. I mean, we have what, 60, 70 employees in this building. You can't imagine that you know all of them. So
mhm,
somebody just follows you in. Well, you don't know who that person is, and they could very well be someone who's trying to get in for nefarious reasons as
mhm,
well. So
mhm,
that's another big one. Um, Again, phone calls, emails, websites. There's
mhm,
a ton of different ways to the soft targets are always
mhm,
the hardest, but You fix that by constant education, by doing like phishing campaigns. One of our vendors does a phishing campaign for
Mm.
us every year. So they will send out emails to a handful of our users that are fake, that are purported to come from us, IT, or from, the mayor or something like that, and see how many people click on it. When they click on the link, it takes them to a haha, you got
Mm.
phished. And then they get retrained on our training application. So that's always fun. And then of course the CIO gets an email telling her everyone who clicked on the link. So
It's a good thing it's none of us.
Yeah. To that end, how did we do last time?
um I'm gonna say we do very well. We have 1,300 plus employees and we get one or two that click on it. So it is a very small percentage, but it just takes one. You
Mhm,
know,
mhm,
uh, I was told very early in my career from a cybersecurity standpoint, a cybersecurity administrator has to plug every hole and a hacker only has to find one.
mhm,
So there's a whole lot of,
Mhm.
like I said, we're patching and we do all sorts of stuff, but they only have to find one way to get in or
Mhm.
one way to damage a system or to
mhm,
corrupt
mhm,
something. And then that's where they are. And that's when you start getting things like ransomware and you start
mhm,
getting demands for money.
mhm,
It's a slippery slope. Many years ago, the school system got attacked, and a hacker breached them. And when the hacker breached them, they came to us. Your counterpart at the time came to us and said, do we want to make a statement, about the breach, about our preparedness?" And we're like, no, that just invites the hacker to come and try to compromise, or any
yeah,
hacker to come and try to compromise your stuff
mhm,
by saying, well, we didn't get caught. So
yeah,
it's a slippery slope
and
if you start.
perhaps that's a good note.
That's true,
That would have been
Dirk.
my dear
You
friend
don't
Keely
say
Quinlan.
anything because that does. It
Yeah,
invites them in to try to get it.
Yeah,
yeah,
So you just,
you try to stay very
yeah.
stealthy.
yeah, we do our best,
That would have been my dear friend Keely Quinlan asking that question if it wasn't me, and
Yeah.
I love her. She is good at that job.
Yes.
She's
So
with a national or at least regional publication now. I forget the name of
well,
it.
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's a good point. There's reasons why when issues do come up or when issues are evaded, there are reasons to give it some time and some measured judgment in how they're talked about to prevent copycats and the like. And
Yeah.
also,
Do
it's
not
like
poke the bear.
yeah, it's like giving the other person notes if you say too much.
Yeah, it's the same thing where, we try very carefully in situations like this, or when we're talking to vendors. You don't talk about specific products you use. You don't talk about
Mhm,
specific pieces of software you use, because once that's out there in social media, then people can go ahead and say, well, okay, so now we're limited to this type of firewall, so we only have to look up exploits for this type of firewall.
mhm,
Or, you know oh, we know that they're running this version of SQL, and so we only have to look at exploits for that version of
mhm,
SQL. So you try to stay as vague, even when you're talking with vendors, even when you're having conversations about RFPs, or trying to get new products. You try to keep everything as close to the vest as humanly
mhm,
possible. Again, you're just trying to mitigate anything
mhm.
that's going to happen.
It would be like I'm imagining like if there's a bank robbery and they catch the guy who was trying to rob the bank and then came out and said if he had just used these tools, he would have gotten away with it.
Yes. Yes, that's pretty much it. Or, hey, he came in through the door, but we know that there's a hole in the back of the building that he could have gone through. Yeah,
But I would have gotten away with it too
Yeah,
if
they
it wasn't
only
for those pesky IT people.
yes, yes. We
But
try to be a thorn in the side, but
yeah.
you can't do everything.
Yeah. Uh we're kind of in an interesting age for as you said there's a lot of things going on in the world of cybersecurity. And I think the other day you told me the only way to really avoid cybersecurity risks is to not have to
Don't be
move
connected
to a
to the
cabin in the
internet. Yeah.
woods. Uh
exactly. Don't have users either.
mhm. But one thing that
But that's impossible.
one thing that's unavoidable nowadays is all this talk of AI coming up. Has that become a factor at this
I
point?
think it's an emerging idea. there are things that AI is very good at. It's very good at analyzing existing systems and replicating things that are already out there. Original thought, not good. So AI trying to brute force a password is a whole lot faster, a whole lot easier than a human being.
Mhm.
Um, it can take hashes and do all sorts of
Mhm.
stuff with it. There's a lot of thought that the AI can do based on
Mhm.
previous history that it can get. Is it going to be super scary moving forward? Probably in every aspect.
Mhm.
AI now answering questions, chatbots like GPT or art programs like Mid
Mhm.
Journey, things like that, are very interesting tools. But again, people have
Mhm.
found that information that it gives is incorrect,
Mhm.
or there's
Mhm.
faults with what it is. But in the direction it's going, and in the growing in leaps and bounds
Mhm.
with how quickly information is being absorbed by these structures, it is going to
Yeah.
be hard moving forward.
Mhm.
It's going to be something you're going to have to protect against. That said, you'll see it from the other side as well. So now you're going to start seeing firewalls with AI involved,
Mhm.
and you're going to start seeing, different products, zero trust products, where it just assumes everybody who's trying to connect to your network is a bad person, and so it gives multiple ways to prevent that.
Mhm.
Multi-factor authentication, so you not only do you have to include a password, but you get tokens for cell phones or things of that nature.
Very cool. Yeah, I worry about that stuff a lot on my end in communications, thinking about, and it went to a whole new level today. But I've been thinking about all this like voice replication stuff, and it's so popular for entertainment on YouTube right now. I know people love to like create voice profiles of famous people and government officials to playing video games or whatever as if they're personalities on their YouTube channel. But like that's a concern for us on both of our sides, the ability to create situations where it looks like a person is saying something that
Uh,
they aren't.
yeah, absolutely. Or, I mean, just being able to capture voices of public people, the mayor, for example,
Mhm.
and then taking that and replicating that for a phishing phone call. Hey,
Yeah,
this is the mayor. I need to do
Exactly. Oh.
this or that.
creating a
Um,
voice profile
oh
is a
yes,
dangerous thing, and
Oh,
yeah,
nowadays
no.
now they can create video profiles, apparently. I saw that
absolutely.
yesterday,
Yeah,
there's
I
a new
mean, deep
program
fakes
out.
have been around
Yes.
for a while, and they are starting to get
Mhm.
more and more.
I saw this one this was yesterday. Apparently, there's a new thing, and I think it's from the OpenAI that company. I don't know that for sure. Um, it was like a dog trying like on a ledge, like trying to go in the window. Uh, that like a firefighter was trying to rescue or something, and it wasn't AI. None of
The
it
whole
was
thing was
real.
AI.
It was all fake. Yeah.
And it's just so wild
Yeah.
that that
Yeah,
can exist, and like you said, there's a lot of cool I like the backside uses for some things like security purposes is really cool, but some
yeah.
of these tools and to that end, I will also say that here at the City of Clarksville, we're not using those tools at this time
No,
for the ethical and security concerns
absolutely.
that they bring, and there are ethical concerns too.
Absolutely. Yes. And as it's pointed out quite a bit in discussion about AI art, is that in order to train the AI art, they have artists whose styles they have replicated.
Mhm,
And
Mhm.
even to the point where they have listed the artists whose styles that they have replicated. And now that's starting to get significant backlash, especially if you're one of those artists and now someone's typing in a prompt to do something in your art style. Well,
Mhm.
where does that end? Could they try to sell that, purporting that it's a hidden,
mhm.
image that you created?
It's wild.
So, no, it is a strange time
Mhm.
to be around.
But luckily, we have some great people here keeping the boat afloat.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Love it. Do y'all handle for like or IT for our departments around like all over the city, or is it mostly? That's something I
So
wondered, like gas and water
the
and
city of
TV and all that.
Clarksville handles IT for city general. So we handle everything that it's in city hall, parks and recreation, building and codes. So police department has additional IT staff. We do handle the bulk of their IT infrastructure, so their networks and switching and servers and things like that. and then they have IT staff that does day to day, as well as handles some very police specific issues or products. And then the gas and water department has an entirely separate IT infrastructure as well. So they have their own IT department out there. And then CDE, as governed by a board, not only has their own IT department, but they have two separate IT departments. One IT department is for the CDE proper, and the other is for light band.
Mhm.
So they have multiple IT departments out there as well. And so everything else that falls under us, and then of course the Regional Planning Commission, as well, as they are a joint city county venture, but city handles their IT infrastructure.
We have so many departments.
Oh yes, so much. It's one of those things where we have to do counts. Take we distribute network to the entirety of the city of Clarksville. The city of Clarksville has network in 53 separate buildings within the city.
Mhm.
That's crazy. That's a whole lot of connections. So, and we manage every single one of them, more than 1,300 users, 1,600 endpoints. So, a
Lots
lot
of
of
stuff.
computers, a lot of laptops, a lot of network switches and devices. It's a lot of equipment to be handled by a grand total of 13 people.
Goodness.
So,
Oh,
yes.
we talked about accurate shows and media about cybersecurity and hacking. We're nearing the end, so I get to just ask fun things now. Do either of you have a show that is a good example of working in IT? There are several shows that have people that work in I think of crime dramas, but I also think of my personal favorite, the IT crowd.
The IT
The
crowd.
IT crowd's
which
the
is-
only thing I thought of. The IT crowd.
And the original British version
British.
of the IT
British.
crowd.
Oh
yes.
yeah, British. Oh,
Yes.
always.
And that is, I mean, of course, everything you're going to see is going to be stereotypical to the utmost degree.
Mhm.
So you're going to play all the stereotypes, but that's at the very least, everybody can say, "Hey, I know that IT guy." And then there used to be a skit that was regular on SNL that was your company's IT guy, and it was just every stereotype about an IT guy wrapped into one individual,
Oh, I'm gonna have
which
to find
was
that.
which was fantastic. And so yeah, you see stuff like that all the time, but I don't know. I mean, there's not. I think a lot of television turns IT, especially crime dramas, into these superheroes that can do everything.
Yeah.
It's weird. One of the things that
sure.
you sort of deal with as an IT person is we're like any other profession. We're very, once you get into it, you're very specialized. Like, you're not going to ask Tamara, who has been doing web development and content management her entire career, hey, the RAM on my computer isn't working. Can you take a look at it and replace these sticks of RAM for me? It's just not in her wheelhouse. And by the same token, you're not going to ask me to do content management because it goes beyond my scope in every shape or form. And so that's one of those weird things, is that in media, you tend to see IT people who are capable of doing everything from writing code to enhancing video to a point where you can see a license plate from a grainy camera from 10,000 miles away.
What's the goth girl from NCIS or
Yeah,
whatever?
Abby Shuto from NCIS. That's my favorite example of a bad IT stereotype, because there's an episode where there are two people typing on the same keyboard to do a hack of some kind. And it's just, you would just be getting in each other's way. It wouldn't enhance performance or anything of that nature. And, you're not doing separate things. It's not like if I press the key on this keyboard while you're pressing this key, they're going to separate locations. It's the same computer.
The other stereotype I like, that's great. And I feel like they were trying to do like a
It's good,
piano duet thing,
Yeah,
was
kinda
the
thing,
joke,
right.
probably.
Yeah,
But there was a TikToker that I liked for a while that was doing your average Reddit user is your IT guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it
That's
was so funny.
funny.
I'll have to send you one sometime.
That's fantastic.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun stuff. Speaking of specialties, yeah, I got this crack in my phone. No, I'm just kidding.
And we'll turn you over to AT&T. You're welcome to get that fixed.
Oh my goodness. Love it. Well, I think we're about done for this one. Is there anything we missed or anything you'd like to add in? Or
Well, I did, for AI, I did want to say that people really need to be careful
Mhm,
because these scams are getting really, really deep.
mhm,
They go so far as to imitate with the voice controller and the voiceovers. They they can call your phone and say that you're, I'm your daughter or whatever, and I
mhm.
need money.
The Better Business Bureau put out a notice about that, I forget
Yeah,
the word, public.
announcement or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, because that was coming up, and that just made me nervous. Because
Mhm.
so yeah, AI is very
I
scary.
I have older relatives that would fall for
Yes,
that would fall for
so everyone needs to be
that. Mhm.
careful on that
I
now.
spend again, working in social media makes me
Mhm.
loathe it and not trust it. I spend an
Yeah.
inordinate amount of time talking to relatives who use their Facebooks like, "Copy and paste this status if you want, but it doesn't have anything to do with Facebook's use of your photos." And
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Fun fact, those
It's
don't do anything. What they do is people then can search for that post and see who's willing to do those kind of things, and then you become
oh,
a target.
yeah.
absolutely it's grooming.
I
Yep.
think it's like learning a safe word too for your family, is to learn a safe word,
That's an interesting idea.
to know it's you,
Mhm, mhm.
you know.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And that we should probably initiate that for the city too,
That's not a bad idea. I feel
have
like it'd be
some
hard to
kind of
keep that secret with 1,600 something people, but
Oh yes.
True.
Well, we are currently working at getting a multi-factor authentication system in place for the
oh,
city.
that'll be good.
Yes, and it's one, it'll be great for cybersecurity insurance because
Mhm,
a lot of companies won't even talk to you if you don't have a multi-factor authentication
mhm,
system. And it will be obviously it'll make everything a lot more secure when you go to log into your desktop. Not only will it prompt you for a password, but it will send you a token, or you can
mhm.
have a hardware token, and it will take that and you punch it in and everything logs you in at that point. So
That I love
um,
authenticators that produce authenticator keys and the two-factor sending a phone thing. Just don't ask me to move a puzzle piece or click all those blocks that have a
Oh,
fire hydrant.
no.
man, that
And we have reviewed a lot of these, and there are some that can do just an amazing amount of stuff. Like you can jump through as many hoops as you want
Mhm,
to.
mhm,
It's a matter of what level of security do you want versus what level of ease do you want for your
mhm,
users. At some point, you have to step back and say this is just too much for the
mhm,
user. If you have a 25 character password that you have to change every 90 days, you're just going to
mhm,
drive somebody insane, or all they're going to do is iterate from the one password to the next. So,
mhm. I hit that point with I was creating a social media account for my YouTube channel that I was making with a friend, and again, I'm trying not to like name things that I'm throwing a little shade at, but the social media platform that I was trying to create an account for, the verification process was 20 of those puzzle things.
oh,
And it was like a really complicated one where it was like, here's a puzzle piece. Now rotate the puzzle until it's the same orientation of this puzzle piece. 20 of them. And then it made me start over at the end because I got one wrong. And I was just like, I don't need this account. I don't need this.
I love the ones that
I
morph.
don't need this heartache. I don't need it.
Where like it's an easy puzzle. It'll be like 16 blocks, and it'll say, pick the ones with all the cars. And so you go through and you click all the ones with the cars, but then as you click each one with a car, that tile changes. And so
Mhm.
some of the tiles that you have clicked now have cars on them again because the tile changed. Well, like I don't need into this website that bad. I really don't.
Oh,
I will
goodness.
go. There are 900 websites that do the exact same thing. I will just find one of those.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Oh my goodness. Well, I think we'll end there. Dirk, did you think of your favorite commander?
Um, no, so I don't play Commander. My favorite is Draft. I love playing
I do love
Draft.
some
It is
draft.
my it
Favorite
is my
set to
um
draft?
I favorite set to draft. Ooh, I like Cube Draft where you use all of the cards
Oh,
from
fun.
every set that's ever been made. And my son, my oldest son, has one that he created that has to include the Power Nine in it. So it's all proxies because of course the Power
Mhm.
Nines are thousands upon thousands of dollars, but It's great to play that because how often are you going to be able to pick up a Black Lotus and play it on turn 1? So
Very fun. Tamara,
It's
did you follow any of that?
No, because I don't play
Mine's Lord of the
RPGs.
Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings set.
Okay.
Do you have any?
my favorite set is the new one, the Wilds of Eldraine, and
Oh, the fairy tale themed
yeah,
one.
and they just have the
murder
murder at
mystery.
Karloff Manor.
Yeah, they made a clue variant of the game. We're talking about Magic: The Gathering. For those that don't know, it's a collector's
It's a
trading card game.
collectible card game that's been around
Yeah.
since the year of our
Knew it was
Lord
a game.
1993.
Yeah. Don't worry, Tamara. We'll teach you to play on a future episode
Okay,
of
sounds
On
good.
Public Square.
Okie dokie.
Well, I think we'll call it from there. Thank you both so much for coming up and hanging out with me for a bit. This was super fun.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much.
Yeah. And I think that'll be it. We'll catch you next time on Public Square.